The night was silent, except for the soft hum of machines buried deep in the jungle. Hidden from the world, a secret Earth research base worked in silence. Soldiers guarded the trees. Scientists moved like shadows. Inside a steel room, a baby slept, unaware of the danger flying above. A black alien warship hovered in the clouds, unseen by human eyes. It belonged to the Zarn Dominion, a cruel, powerful race known for stealing life and turning it into weapons. They had found Earth's signal months ago. Now they had come. Without warning, beams of fire fell from the sky. The trees exploded. Screams filled the air. The jungle burned red and orange as the Earth base turned into rubble. The soldiers fought, but they were no match. The aliens moved fast like machines with no hearts dotting the ruins of the base. A lone alien scout heard something strange. A cry. He followed the sound, stepping over broken walls and burning steel. There, among the debris, was a small glass chamber. Inside, a baby boy cried, untouched by the fire. The alien stared at the child's eyes. They glowed faintly blue. "This one is different," the alien whispered in his own tongue. He sent a signal. Moments later, 2 more aliens joined him. "Take the child," the leader said. "He may be what we need." Without another word, they lifted the baby and disappeared into the sky. The ship traveled through a tear in space. Jumping far from Earth, the child, now labeled Specimen 731, was taken to the Zarn's war world, Krither. There were no trees here, no birds. Only metal, training grounds, and war factories. "He will be shaped," said the Zarn commander, standing over the baby's cry chamber. "We will burn the earth out of him." For years, the child was trained like a machine. He learned faster than any creature they had taken before. His bones broke, they healed. His body grew strong. His mind sharper. But even in the cold steel halls of Krither, something inside him refused to die. Sometimes, late at night, the boy would draw circles with chalk on the wall, blue circles with green land. He didn't know why. He didn't know what they meant, but they felt like home. "Why do you draw that?" asked a Zarn guard one day. "I don't know," the boy replied softly. "I see it in my sleep." The guard growled and slapped the chalk from his hand. "You are Zarn property. You are a weapon. Forget the past." But the boy never forgot. At age 10, he was tested in live combat. Alien beasts were set against him. He fought with bare hands. Bones snapped. Blood flowed. But he stood. Again and again, he stood. "He does not feel fear," the trainers said. "He does not ask for mercy," others replied. But they were wrong. The boy did feel fear. He felt sadness too. He just hid it. He had learned long ago, weakness got you killed. His trainers called him monster. But the boy didn't like the word. He didn't feel like a monster. He didn't know what he was. But something inside whispered, "You are human." One day, they threw him into a simulation. A hologram. Battle zone filled with fire and smoke. Alien rebels screamed. Laser fire cut the air. But this time, there was a twist. A small alien child, no older than 4, ran into his path, crying, lost and scared. "Target in sight," said the cold voice in his ear. He looked at the child. "Destroy," said the voice again. He raised his weapon, but he didn't pull the trigger. The child looked up at him, trembling. He lowered his weapon. "Why didn't you kill?" demanded the Zarn general after the simulation ended. "She wasn't a soldier," the boy replied. "She was scared." The general struck him hard across the face. "You do not think," the general barked. "You obey." The boy bled from the mouth but said nothing. He stared back with silent fire in his eyes. That night, he was locked in isolation. The lights were turned off. No food, no sound, just darkness. He sat alone. But his mind drifted. He remembered a soft hand. A woman's. Voice. A lullaby he couldn't fully recall. He whispered, "Earth." 2 weeks later, a small maintenance robot rolled into his chamber. The boy noticed something strange. A hatch had opened at the robot side, and inside was a metal drive. Curious, he grabbed it. When the guards weren't watching, he plugged the drive into a stolen console. Files appeared, images, videos. One image showed a round blue planet, green and white clouds, swirling over oceans. His eyes widened. "That's Earth," he said softly. The file had one note: Subject 731, Earth origin, DNA class, human. Shock filled him. "I'm from Earth?" he whispered. He stared at the stars through the small chamber window. For the first time, he realized he didn't belong here. He had to go back. Escape wasn't easy, but he had waited long enough. For weeks, he watched the guards, studied patrols, found blind spots in the cameras. Then on a stormy night, he made his move. He slipped through air vents, knocked out 2 guards, freed another prisoner, a strange, 4-armed alien girl who had once shared food with him. "You don't have to help me," he said. "You did once," she replied. "Now I help you." Together they reached the ship bay. Alarms blared. Lasers fired. The Zarn chased them through the docking area, but the boy fought like a storm. He moved like lightning. Not just fast, human fast. Unpredictable. Fierce. Alive. They boarded a small fighter craft. "Where to?" asked the alien girl, her hands on the controls. He looked at the glowing blue dot on the map. "Earth," he said. "We're going home." The ship jumped through hyperspace, fleeing Krythar. Behind, the galaxy turned quiet. For the first time in his life, the boy wasn't in a cage. He looked out the window. "I'm not a monster," he said softly. The girl nodded. "No," she said. "You're something they'll never understand." He smiled for the first time, but deep in space, behind the stars, the Zarn watched. "He's loose," said the war commander. "And he remembers Earth." They did not smile. They prepared for war. Back in Earth's orbit, satellites beeped. A strange vessel was approaching. Unknown tech, unknown signature. It didn't match any friendly design. The Earth Defense Eye scanned. Alert, it said. Possible threat inbound. Fighter jets launched. Soldiers armed themselves. The boy, now nearly 16, didn't know Earth had changed. He didn't know they feared strangers. As the ship entered orbit, Earth's warning beacons flashed red. But the boy stood at the window, eyes full of wonder. "I made it," he whispered. Below him, his home waited. And above, the stars watched. The return of the child who had been stolen, now stronger, wiser, and more human than anyone had expected. The room was cold. The lights were white and harsh. The floor smelled like metal and old blood. Somewhere deep in the Zarn warworld of Krythar, a human boy sat in a metal chair. His hands were tied behind him. His eyes were swollen. One of his ribs was broken. He was only 5 years old. The alien in front of him was tall, with black armor and no mouth. Its voice came from a machine on its chest. "You will not cry," it said. Weakness is failure. The boy stayed silent. He wanted to scream, but he didn't. He remembered the last time he cried. They had made him sleep outside in the freezing storm. His fingers still hurt from that night. "You will break," the alien added. "And then we will build you again." Another door opened. 2 more aliens entered. One carried a stick that buzzed with electric sparks. The other had a small screen showing images. Children crying, bones breaking, blood spilling. "Pain is not the enemy," said the tall one. "Fear is." They turned on the screen. The boy watched. They shocked him with the stick. He didn't. Scream. Days passed, maybe weeks. He wasn't sure anymore. There were no windows, no clocks, only pain, noise, and cold. Every day started with a bell. Then came the drills. Run, fight, climb, fall, get up. Run again. If he failed, he was punished. Sometimes they made him fight bigger alien boys, all trained from birth to kill. Some had claws, others had thick skin. The human had neither. Only fists and quick legs. Still, he fought. Still, he survived. Once, he lost a fight and broke his arm. He lay on the ground gasping. The trainer stepped over him. "You fall like a beast," the trainer said. "Not like a weapon." The boy looked up with blood in his mouth. "Then train me harder." The trainer paused. Maybe. This human was different. At night, they locked him in a dark box. No space to stand, no air vents. Just darkness and the sound of his own heart. But his mind stayed awake. He thought about a voice, soft, loving. A woman's face. Was it real or a dream? Who am I? He whispered. He had no answer. One day, a new lesson began. It wasn't about strength. It was about the mind. He was placed in a white room with puzzles, shapes, numbers. "Beat the time." The alien voice said. He did. "Faster." It ordered. He went faster every time he passed a test. They made it harder. Then they added pain. Solve the puzzle. Or get shocked. Speak the wrong word. Or lose food. It didn't take long for the boy to learn. He remembered patterns. Learned alien languages. Read files faster than the instructors expected. One day, he solved a coding puzzle meant for adult Zarn commanders. In 3 minutes. The scientist behind the glass looked shocked. "He's adapting too fast," she said. "He's learning emotions too," the general growled. "Remove them." They gave him injections. Strange black liquid burned inside him. His head felt like fire. His heart slowed. His dreams stopped. He forgot the woman's voice. The green and blue planet. But something inside still whispered, "Don't let go." He turned 8. His body was taller, his face harder. His hands were covered in bruises. They brought him to the simulation chamber again. A hologram battlefield appeared. Flames, smoke, enemy troops. "Kill, survive," said the voice. He did. He tore through soldiers like a shadow. Fast, silent, deadly. Afterward, the general met him. "You will lead missions soon," he said. "You are almost ready." The boy didn't reply. The general leaned in. "What do you feel?" The boy looked up with cold eyes. "Nothing." The general smiled, but he was lying. He did feel something. Every time he hurt someone, a part of him broke. A part of him screamed. But he hid it deep. Because if they saw it, they would crush it, and he couldn't let that happen. Not yet. They gave him a name. Now Unit 731. No longer boy. No longer child. He was treated like a weapon. Sent into real battles. Sent to silent rebel moons and wild colonies. He never failed, but he never smiled. One night, in the barracks, he found a drawing. It was simple. A circle with green land and blue water. He stared at it for a long time. The alien next to him noticed. "What's that?" she asked. She was one of the new recruits, small, 4 arms, soft voice. "I don't know," he said, "but I think I saw it before." She tilted her head. "In a dream? Maybe." He folded the drawing and hid it inside his uniform. "Don't tell anyone." She nodded. "Your secret is safe." Weeks later, something changed. A high-ranking alien arrived at the base. Grand Marshal Vecthos, a legend among the Zarn. He requested a private test for Unit 731. They brought the boy into a room with white walls and a glass floor. Below the glass was a living creature, chained, weak, scared. "Enemy prisoner," said Vecthos. "Kill him." The boy looked down. The creature wasn't fighting. It was a child, small, skinny, eyes wide with fear. "Do it," Vecthos ordered. The boy didn't move. I said, "Do it." The boy's hand touched the panel that would release poison gas. He stared at the child. Then he looked at Vecthos. "No." The room went silent. You refuse a direct order? The Grand Marshal asked. Yes. Vecthos raised a hand. Guards rushed in. The boy didn't fight. He let them drag him away. That night he was beaten. They broke his ribs, burned his skin, locked him in a cell. But he didn't scream. He didn't cry. Inside something felt stronger. He had done the right thing. For the first time, he felt human. The next day, the general came to see him. You disappointed us, he said coldly. I made a choice, the boy replied. You are not made to choose. Then why did I survive everything you gave? Me? The boy asked. Why did I learn, think, feel? The general narrowed his eyes. Because you were supposed to be more. A weapon with intelligence, not a soul. Well, the boy said softly, maybe you gave me too much. They left him alone after that. He wasn't sent to new missions. He wasn't punished either. He trained alone, watched from the shadows, started planning, watching guard shifts, studying ship routes, searching for one word on every terminal he could access. Earth. One night, the four-armed girl returned. She whispered through the food slot. You still dream about that place? She asked. He nodded. I need to go there. She looked around. Then you'll need help. He smiled, not cold, not fake, a real smile. Will you help me? She grinned. Always. Together, they started to plan something the Czarn had never expected. Not a war, not a weapon, but a return. A return to something lost. A return to Earth. The ship hovered silently above a frozen planet. Black clouds moved fast across the sky, and lightning cracked the ground below. Inside the Czarn dropship, Unit 731 stood still, his armor dark and sharp, his face calm but cold. Behind him, 5 alien warriors prepared their weapons. Their mission was clear. Wipe out a rebel camp hiding on the icy cliffs. No survivors, no questions, no hesitation. Unit 731 was their leader now. Rebels spotted at Sector 9, said one of the soldiers. Small force, less than 20. Another added, orders? They all asked. He didn't answer at first. His eyes were fixed on the screen. The heat signatures were clear. The camp was small. Defenses were weak. And one shape was too small to be a soldier. A child. He blinked, and the voice in his ear came alive. This is command. Clean sweep. Full elimination. You know the rules. 731. He stayed quiet. Then he replied, understood. The ship opened. Snow and ash blew across the landing site. The team jumped down, lasers in hand, blades ready. They moved through the snow like shadows, but 731 walked slower. His mind was loud. He remembered the day they forced him to kill a chained animal. He had refused. They had called him weak, a failure, a mistake. But he wasn't weak. He was human. The rebel camp was small. No walls, no heavy weapons. Just old machines, broken shelters, and a few cold, frightened people. A man ran out with a blaster. The alien shot him down without a word. Screams followed. A woman tried to shield 2 children. One alien raised his gun. Wait, said 731. The alien turned, confused. They are not targets. Search the camp first, he said. There may be data or weapons. The team spread out. 731 walked to the woman and her children. He stood over them. The woman didn't beg. She just held them tighter. He looked into her eyes. She reminded him of something. Or someone. Maybe a face from a dream. Maybe from Earth. They say you're a monster, the woman whispered. He didn't respond. You don't have to be. He looked at the children. They were shaking, terrified. He turned around and gave a command. Take the supplies. Leave the rest. One soldier froze. But, command said, I gave the order, 731 said sharply. Do it. The others obeyed. But one did not. Orders from command are final, said the biggest alien. His name was Drax, a brutal killer. This is weakness. He raised his gun toward the children. 731 moved like lightning. In 1 second. He stepped forward, grabbed the barrel, and smashed Drax's helmet with a punch. The alien fell. The others stared. No more killing. 731 said. Drax growled from the ground. You're not a leader. You're broken. 731 knelt beside him. I remember things, he said quietly. Things they tried to burn out of me. Drax spat blood. Memories make you weak. No, 731 whispered. They make me dangerous. He stood and faced the others. Tell command the rebels were wiped out. No survivors, no witnesses. The soldiers hesitated. But what if they ask for proof? One said, tell them the storm buried the bodies, he replied. Let them question me if they dare. The soldiers looked at each other, then nodded. They followed him back to the ship, leaving the rebels alive. Hours later, back on Krither, alarms echoed in the base. 731 stood in the main chamber, surrounded by commanders. You disobeyed a direct order, the High General said. I completed the mission. 731 answered. You let enemies live. No evidence says that, he said calmly. Your own. Logs show the rebels were eliminated. The general stared at him. You're growing too bold. I did what was needed, 731 said. Your war is already breaking. The general walked toward him slowly. Do you think we won't end you? You tried before, he replied. But you need me. That made the room go quiet, because it was true. Unit 731 was the most effective warrior in Zarn history. He had completed more missions than any living soldier. Even when they tortured him, even when they poisoned his mind, he had survived. General waved a hand. Leave him, for now. Later, in the dark of night, the four-armed alien girl came to his chamber. You saved them, she said. He nodded. I had to. Why? He looked at her. Because once, I was them. She sat beside him. You're not like the others. I wasn't born here, he said. I was taken from a place called Earth. She looked confused. Earth? It's where I came from. I don't remember much. But I know I don't belong here. What will you do? She asked. He stared at the stars through the window. I'll go back. How? I don't know yet, but I will. I'm done being their weapon. She reached out and touched his hand gently. You're not a monster, she said. No matter what they say, he didn't speak. But her words stayed in his mind like fire in the dark. But not everyone stayed silent. Drax did not forget. He reported the truth to a secret faction within the Zarn military. He's soft, Drax said. He let enemies live. He thinks he's still human. The officers listened. Some nodded. Others stayed quiet. But one thing was clear. Unit 731 was now under watch. Days later, he was sent on another mission. A colony had gone silent. Rebels again, the commander said. No mercy this time. 731 nodded. But when he reached the colony, he found no rebels. Just farmers, workers, children. Someone had lied. He turned to his team. Pull back, he ordered. This isn't the target zone. But command, I said, pull back. And once again, he saved lives. But this time, the lie reached command faster than his cover. They called him back, not for a mission, but for punishment. They brought him to a dark chamber. Cold chains wrapped his wrists. The High General stood in front of him. You're no longer useful, the general said. You've grown a heart. I never lost it, 731 replied. You were raised to be our monster. I was raised in fire, he said, but I forged myself in mercy. You think mercy will save you? No, 731 said, looking up. But it will save them. The lights went out, alarms blared. Explosions shook the floor. Suddenly, the Walls cracked. The four-armed girl dropped from the ceiling, blaster in hand. Time to go. She shouted. He broke his chains. They ran through smoke and fire. Drones flew overhead. Guards shouted, but they didn't stop. They reached a hidden dock. A stolen ship waited. As they launched into space, the girl smiled. You were right. She sighed. Mercy is power. He looked back at the burning Zarn base. No, he said. Mercy is human. And he was ready to be human again. The sky above Cruther's twin moons burned red like fire. These moons were called the Blood Moons by the soldiers because no one escaped them alive. They were prison worlds, training grounds, and secret labs. Death and silence ruled here. Unit 731 stood at the edge of the launch platform, wearing stolen armor and staring into the crimson clouds. Next to him, the four-armed alien girl named Nira checked the ship's fuel levels. You really think this thing can get us out of here? She asked. Not sure, 731 replied. But if we stay, we're dead. The stolen Zarn fighter behind them hummed quietly, hidden under a worn camouflage net. Its engines were old, but they still worked barely. They'll come for us. Nira said. They already have, 731 replied. Just then, the warning lights blinked red. They found us, he added. Alarms echoed across the launch zone. Drones lifted into the air. Heavy footsteps rushed through the metal halls behind them. They're close, Nira said, tightening the strap of her weapon. 731 turned to her. We split up. You lead the ship. I'll slow them down. She stepped in front of him. No. We do this together. He stared at her for a moment. You're not trained for this. She smiled. No one trained me to trust someone like you either. For a moment, his cold expression softened. Fine, he said. Let's make them regret ever calling me a monster. The corridors of the base were dark and tight. Red lights flashed as security teams swept every corner. 731 knew this place. Well, he had trained here as a boy. Every pain-filled memory came rushing back, every scream, every broken bone. But now the walls couldn't trap him anymore. Camera eyes in the east tunnel, Nira said, checking her portable scanner. He pulled out a signal jammer and crushed it against the wall. The camera sparks flew. Darkness returned. They moved fast, avoiding patrols, sliding under pipes, hiding in the shadows. Exit door is close, Nira whispered. But they stopped suddenly. Voices. Footsteps. And then a sound they feared. Drax. His heavy breathing echoed down the corridor. The Zarn warrior who once called 731 a coward was now leading the hunt. I know you're here, traitor. Drax shouted. You shamed us. You chose mercy over power. You don't deserve to wear that armor. Nira whispered. Let's take the long way. No, 731 said. Let me handle him. He walked into the open. Looking for me? He called. Drax turned. His armor gleamed with black spikes, his eyes full of rage. You've grown soft, Drax said, pulling out two blades. I've grown human, 731 replied. They clashed. Metal rang through the hall. Sparks flew. Drax fought. Like a beast, wild and brutal. But 731 was faster, smarter, focused. You could have ruled the galaxy. Drax growled. I'd rather walk free on Earth, 731 replied. He dodged, countered, and slammed Drax into the wall. But Drax kicked back, slicing across 731's shoulder. Blood dripped. Pain burned. Still, 731 stood tall. He grabbed Drax's wrist and twisted, disarming one blade. Go ahead, Drax hissed. Kill me. Be what they made you. 731 stared into his eyes. Then dropped the blade. No, he said. That's what you would do. He walked away. Drax screamed after him. Coward. But 731 didn't stop. Nira met him down the corridor, eyes wide. You didn't kill him? I'm not here to destroy, he said. I'm here to escape. They reached the launch pad, but the exit door wouldn't open. It's locked, Nira said. Manual override only. 731 pulled out a stolen code disk. Keep watch, he said. He jammed the disk into the panel. A timer flashed. 90 seconds. Behind them, alarms grew louder. A squad of Zarn enforcers was approaching. Nira aimed her blaster. We've got company. She fired at the corridor entrance. 30 seconds, 731 called out. Explosions rocked the metal floor. Smoke filled the air. Then a loud click. The door opened. Go! 731 shouted. They rushed out to the landing zone where the red moons burned in the sky. The ship waited, half frozen but alive. They climbed in. Engines cold, Nira said. They'll take a minute to heat. Give them a reason to rush, he replied. Climbing into the co-pilot seat, blaster fire hit the ship's outer shell. Drones swarmed the platform. They're blocking our lift path, Nira said. Not for long. 731 aimed the front cannons and fired. Boom. The front pad exploded. Drones flew back. Soldiers dove for cover. Nira screamed, We're lifting. The ship rose into the blood-red sky. A cruiser appeared in orbit. Warning, Zarn blockade detected. The ship's eye said. They're not letting us go, Nira said, her hands shaking on the controls. We'll punch through. Are you crazy? Probably, he said. He flipped the switches for full thrust. The engines roared. The fighter screamed forward. Laser fire rained down from the Zarn cruiser. The ship shook. We're not going to make it, Nira shouted. Hold the course. Missile locked on behind them. Missile tracking. The eye warned. 731 grabbed the manual ejector lever. He pulled it. A small back panel exploded outward. Metal junk flew out. The missile followed the debris and detonated. Nice trick, Nira said, eyes wide. We only get one. The Zarn cruiser grew larger. Too close, too fast. Then he saw it. A weak point in the cruiser's side. A docking hatch slightly open. Nira, aim for that hole. What? That's suicide. Just do it. She didn't question. The fighter turned straight into the cruiser's weak point. They slipped through just before the hatch closed. Inside the cruiser, everything went dark for a moment. We're inside? Nira asked. Now we get out. They jumped out of the fighter and ran down a long corridor. Past shocked engineers and guards. An emergency hangar lay ahead. I see a warp ship, Nira said. One with stealth tech, he added. They sprinted. Inside, 731 booted the console. Nira activated stealth mode. Outside, the Zarn forces were in chaos. No one noticed one small ship slipping out the back hangar. The stealth field held. They vanished into space. Hours passed. They drifted in silence through the edge of Zarn territory. Where are we headed? Nira finally asked. Unknown space, he said. Away from Krither, toward Earth. Do you think Earth still remembers you? I don't know, he said quietly. But I'll find it. She looked at him. You saved me. You could have left me back there. You believed in me when I didn't, he replied. That's rare. They sat quietly for a moment. Then she smiled. You know, for someone raised by monsters, you turned out okay. He looked at the stars. I'm not done changing yet. Back on the blood moons, the High Command watched the footage. He escaped, one officer said. He is no longer our weapon, another replied. He is a threat. The Grand Marshal stood. Let him run, he said coldly. He cannot run forever. He stared at the screen, at the last image of Unit 731 vanishing into space. Send a bounty to every system, he said. Wanted, the monster who chose mercy. But far from their reach, in a stolen ship sailing through the stars, that monster sat with calm eyes and a new plan. He had tasted freedom, and he wasn't turning back. The stars passed quietly outside the ship's window. Unit 731 sat alone in the dark cockpit, eyes locked on the glowing blue planet ahead, Earth, his real home. His origin. He hadn't seen it since he was a baby stolen by the Zarn and raised on war moons as a weapon. Now, after years of pain, training, betrayal, and escape, he was finally coming back. But as the ship moved closer, something felt strange. "Still think this is a good idea?" Nira asked, walking into the cockpit. She handed him a protein bar. He didn't answer. "You've barely slept in 2 days." She added, "I don't need sleep," he said quietly. "You need a plan," she replied, sitting beside him. "What if Earth sees you as an enemy?" "I'm one of them." "You were," she said gently. "But now, you look and sound like something else. Cold, military, dangerous." He looked at his reflection in the glass. She was right. His face carried old scars. His armor looked nothing like anything human. His voice was calm, controlled, too controlled. "They'll understand," he said at last. "They have to." The Earth Defense Station picked up the ship's signal at the edge of orbit. "Unidentified craft detected," the AI voice said. "Shape?" asked the commander. "XARN-class stealth vessel." The room went silent. "Zarn?" the general repeated. "Raise shields. Target all orbital guns." Inside the cockpit, 731's radar beeped. "They've locked on," Nira said. 731 opened a secure channel. "This is not a threat," he said. "This ship is peaceful. I am human." Static filled the line. Then a cold voice replied, "Identify yourself." "I am," he hesitated. "I don't have a real name. But I was taken from Earth 20 years ago. You labeled me as Specimen 731. I escaped the Zarn." More silence. Then another voice, calmer. "Land at Dock 47. Do not deviate from path. Any change and we will fire." The channel closed. Nira looked at him. "So friendly welcome?" He didn't smile. That was the nice version. The ship landed in a steel bunker surrounded by guards. Human soldiers in black armor aimed rifles at them. Drones floated in the air. Snipers stood on rooftops. "Exit the ship with hands visible." A voice shouted. Nira looked at him. "I'll stay inside." He nodded. "Let me do the talking." He walked down the ramp slowly, hands open. The soldiers stared at him. He didn't look like them, taller, stronger. His presence felt like a weapon. A woman stepped forward, holding a tablet. "State your purpose." "I came home," he said. "You're classified as lost, presumed dead. I was stolen." She scanned his body. "Zarn implants. Unknown tech. You expect us to trust you?" "I don't expect anything," he said calmly. "But I need answers. And I think Earth needs them too." She stared into his eyes, then tapped her tablet. 2 guards stepped forward and cuffed him. "Take him to Site 7. Command will decide what to do." He didn't resist. The ride was quiet. They flew him to a desert base hidden, far from the cities. He saw nothing familiar. No green trees. No old streets. No sign of the Earth he had dreamed of. The world had moved on. Inside the base, he was led to a steel room. Bright lights, clean table, 2 chairs. He sat. An hour passed. Then an older man entered. His voice was deep. His suit was high rank. "I'm Director Vale," he said, "head of Earth security." "Then you know who I am," 731 replied. "I know what you were," Vale said. "A project that never should have happened." 731's eyes narrowed. "You know about the lab." "I know everything." "You were created during a secret Earth project. Bioenhancement, artificial training, memory control. It failed. Then the Zarn found you. You let them take me?" The director looked away. "We made a choice. You were dangerous, even as a child. If the Zarn wanted a monster, we let them have one." You used me, 731 whispered. We didn't think you'd survive. I didn't survive, he said coldly. I changed. The director leaned forward. Now you're here, so tell me, are you still dangerous? 731 didn't speak, because we have two options, Vale said. We keep you in a cell forever, or we erase you and pretend you never came. You forgot the third option, 731 replied, which is, you listen, and maybe learn something, Vale smirked. We don't take lessons from weapons. 731 stood slowly. Then your enemies will. Guards rushed in, weapons raised. Sit. Down, they shouted, but 731 didn't move. He just looked at Vale. You're scared of me, he said, because I'm what you made. But I chose not to become a killer. Vale stared, frozen. Finally he nodded to the guards. Stand down. They lowered their guns. Give him access to the Earth files, Vale said. Let's see what he's really looking for. Hours later, 731 sat in front of a screen. Nira joined him. Watching quietly. He opened the old Earth archives. Photos flashed on screen, cities, oceans, skies. Then he saw it. The face. The woman, his mother. A report appeared under the image. Dr. Alina Rowe, chief geneticist. Project 731. Status. Deceased. He whispered her name. She was part of it, he said softly. But she tried to protect me. How do you know? Nira asked. She left a message. He played it. A soft voice filled the room. If this message is ever found, it means my child survived. They used me to design him, to shape him. But I built in something they didn't expect. Hope. My son, if you hear this, you are more than what they made you. You are free. His hands shook. Tears filled his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt something break inside. Nira touched his arm. You found her. She's gone. But her message lived, she said. That means you lived. He closed the file and stood. I need to leave Earth. She blinked. You just got here. I'm not ready, he said. They still fear me, still see me as a project. I need time. Vale entered the room again. You found what you wanted? I found the truth, 731 said. Now I'm giving you a warning. Vale raised an eyebrow. A warning? The Zarn are watching. I know how they think. They'll come. Not just for me, for Earth. They'll want to finish what they started. We can defend ourselves. Not if you still think like the past. Vale stared at him. I'll tell the council, he said. But you'll have to prove we can trust you. 731 nodded. Then I'll prove it. As they prepared to leave the base, Nira looked at him. So what now? We go dark, he said. Gather allies. Expose the Zarn from the shadows. You sure Earth will ever welcome you? He looked at the sky. They don't have to welcome me. They just have to survive. And with that, the ship rose once again into space. Earth was no longer his prison. It was his reason to fight, but this time on his terms. The conference room was cold and silent. Large screens glowed softly, showing images and data streams. Leaders from Earth's top governments and military sat around a polished table. Their faces were tense. The man in the center, Director Vale, cleared his throat. We've called this meeting to discuss a matter of great urgency, Vale began. The subject known as Unit 731 has returned. Murmurs rose from the crowd. Returned? A woman asked sharply. The one stolen by the Zarn? Yes, Vale said. He escaped from their control. He claims to be human, and more importantly, he claims the Zarn plan to attack Earth soon. The room fell quiet again. A tall officer stood. What proof do we have? Vale tapped a button. The screens shifted to show a recording. A young man, scarred and armored, speaking calmly. I am the weapon they made, his voice echoed. But I chose mercy. I come with a warning. The Zarn will return, and they will not stop until Earth is destroyed. The leaders exchanged uneasy looks. From the back, a young scientist stood. Director, if I may, Dr. Emery, Vale said. Go ahead. The origins of Unit 731 are complex, she said, voice steady. He was part of a secret project decades ago. Genetic modification, memory training, neural implants, the works. The goal was to create a super soldier capable of defeating any enemy. She paused. But there is more. All eyes turned to her. The project wasn't just about weapons, Dr. Emery continued. It was also a test. An experiment on human potential. To push the boundaries of evolution and survival. Someone gasped. A child, a man whispered. A baby turned into a killer? Yes, she said. But the child Unit 731 escaped their control. He became something new. Something unexpected. Vale stepped forward. His return reveals not only the failure of our past, but also a threat looming on our doorstep. He pointed to the screen. The Zarn watch us. They want to reclaim their lost weapon, and they will bring war. A voice interrupted from the side. What about his humanity? A military commander asked. Can we trust him? Vale shook his head. That is the question we must answer. Meanwhile, in a small hidden base outside the city, Unit 731 sat with Nira. The news reports flickered on a dusty holoscreen. Earth's leaders are divided. Nira said, Some call you a hero. Others call you a monster. He watched the faces on the screen, people scared, unsure, angry. They don't know me, he said quietly. Nira reached out. No one does yet. A knock came at the door. A soldier entered. Director Vale requests your presence. 731 nodded. In the Grand Hall of the Security Council. Vale met him again. Unit 731. Vale began. The truth about your creation has shocked everyone. Many fear you. I understand, 731 said. But fear blinds people. Vale sighed. There is something else. Records we found deep in classified files. He handed 731 a data tablet. 731 scanned it quickly. It showed images, hidden labs, experiments, secret meetings. Project 731 was bigger than I knew, he said. Vale nodded. You were just one of many experiments. Others like me? 731 asked, eyes narrowing. Yes, Vale admitted. Some survived. Some didn't. Some were lost. But they were all weapons. 731 clenched his fists. They made me a monster. Or a survivor, Vale said carefully. Suddenly, alarm sounded. The room shook. A voice blared over the speakers. Warning! Zarn fleet detected in Earth's outer orbit. All units prepare for defense. Chaos erupted. Leaders shouted orders. Is this real? 731 asked. Unfortunately, yes, Vale said grimly. They're coming faster than expected. 731 stood. I won't let them win. Vale looked at him. You want to fight with us? I want to fight for us. The next days were tense. Earth's military mobilized ships and defenses. 731 trained with soldiers. Sharing his knowledge of the Zarn, some welcomed him, others watched warily. One night, Nira sat beside him. Do you ever wonder if they will accept? You? 731 looked up at the stars. I don't care if they do. I care if they survive. As the Zarn fleet closed in, Earth prepared its final defense. In the command center, Vale spoke to 731. You'll lead the first strike team. 731 nodded. We trust you, for now. He didn't answer. The battle was brutal. Ships exploded in fire. Lasers cut through space. 731's squadron moved like shadows, striking quickly and retreating. During a fierce fight, his ship was hit. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the cockpit. Can you hold? A voice asked. I have to, he said, for Earth. He fought through the pain. Then at the last moment, he saw an enemy ship about to fire on a civilian station. He had a choice: destroy the ship or save innocent lives. He hesitated. Do it. The voice in his headset shouted. He closed his eyes, then switched his weapons. Beam hit the enemy's engine. The ship exploded away from the station. After the battle, Earth celebrated a hard-won victory. In the halls of power, opinions still clashed, but 731 had changed something. Not just a warfighter, a symbol, a reminder that even monsters can choose mercy. Vale approached him. Your truth shook humanity, he said. 731 looked at him. Maybe it was time. The city lay in ruins beneath a gray sky. Smoke rose from shattered buildings and silence filled the empty streets. Unit 731 stood alone on a cracked rooftop, staring down at the destruction. The war with the Zarn had cost Earth dearly. A soft beep from his communicator broke the quiet. It was Nira. We have a meeting, she said. The council wants to talk peace. 731 frowned. After everything? He asked. They want peace now. Yes, she replied. They're scared the war will destroy us all. He looked at the stars, remembering the battles he had fought, the enemies he had faced, and the lives he had saved. Maybe it's time, he said. In the council chamber, leaders from Earth and the Zarn gathered. The air was thick with tension. The Zarn ambassador, a tall figure with cold blue eyes, stared at 731. You are the one we feared, the ambassador said. The weapon who betrayed us. I am no one's weapon, 731 replied calmly. I fight for peace. The ambassador smiled coldly. Peace is a weakness. Power decides all. Power without mercy is destruction, 731 said. A murmur ran through the room. The Earth leader stood. We want peace, but trust is fragile. 731 stepped forward. Then let me show you mercy. He told them his story, how he was taken, trained, and changed. How he chose to spare lives instead of taking them. How he escaped the darkness to find hope. Some listened. Some doubted, but his words stirred something deep. Outside, a sudden explosion rocked the building. Alarms blared. Sabotage. A guard shouted. The Zarn ambassador's eyes narrowed. Who wants to destroy peace? 731 asked. A group of masked soldiers stormed in, firing weapons. Attack! The ambassador shouted. Chaos exploded. 731 and Nira dove for cover. We have to protect the council, he said. They fought side by side, taking down attackers with swift precision. But the attackers were many. Retreat. 731 ordered. Regroup at the safe zone. They escaped through underground tunnels, hearts pounding. In the safe zone, 731 faced the council again. We can't trust the Zarn. One leader said. We can't trust anyone, 731 replied. But if we don't try, we lose everything. Nira added. There are others who want war. We must find them. The council agreed to a fragile ceasefire. Days later, 731 trained new recruits, humans and aliens alike. Why do you fight for peace? A young soldier asked. Because I know what war takes, 731 said. It takes our souls, our future. He watched the soldiers, seeing hope in their eyes. One night, a message came through. The warlords behind the sabotage are planning a new attack, Nira said. We have to stop them. 731 said. They launched a secret mission into enemy territory. They moved silently through dark forests and abandoned cities. Suddenly, they were ambushed. Gunfire exploded. 731 shielded a child caught in the crossfire. Run! He shouted. He fought fiercely, protecting the innocent. When the dust settled, the warlords were captured. Back at the council, 731 spoke again. Peace is fragile, but worth fighting for. The leaders nodded. Slowly, the war ended. Cities were rebuilt. Old enemies began to trust. And Unit 731, once called a monster, became a symbol of hope. The stars shimmered cold and distant as Unit 731 stood on the edge of Earth's spaceport. The war was over. The peace was fragile, but his journey was not finished. Are you ready? Nira asked, stepping beside him. He nodded. For what comes? Next, they walked into the crowd, soldiers, civilians, and leaders watching closely. Whispers followed him. Some called him a monster. Others called him a hero. A young child reached out a hand. Are you really human? She asked softly. He smiled, bending down. More human than most. In the council chamber, leaders debated fiercely. He is a weapon, one said. Dangerous and unpredictable. He saved us all, another replied. He is the symbol of our survival. Director Vale stood. We must accept who he is, Vale said. A man shaped by monsters, but who chose mercy. 731 listened quietly. I was born into war, he said, but I choose peace. The room fell silent. Then, an alarm, incoming vessel. The guards shouted. Everyone rushed to the windows. Ship appeared large, black, and armed. The Zarn, Vale said grimly. They're not done. 731 moved toward the control panel. They want to finish this. Nira placed a hand on his shoulder. We'll stop them. The battle began. Lasers cut through the sky. Ships exploded in fire. 731 led the charge. Commanding humans and aliens united. Focus fire on the lead ship. He shouted. The enemy's weapons hit his ship. Shields failing. Nira warned. Hold. On, 731 said. He piloted the ship through a narrow canyon of asteroids. Now, fire the plasma cannon. He ordered. A beam of blue energy hit the enemy flagship. The ship shuddered. Then exploded. Cheers erupted from the fleet. After the battle, 731 returned to Earth. The streets were full of people cheering. Human, a voice whispered behind him. He turned to see a woman, his mother's clone. I am her, she said softly. And you are her son. Tears filled his eyes. I am more than a monster. She smiled. You are a legend. Years passed. Earth grew stronger. All eyes joined from distant stars. 731 trained new generation soldiers, diplomats, peacemakers. One day, a young recruit asked, what made you choose mercy? He looked at the horizon. Because mercy is the strongest power.